Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Jonathan Cohn, and today I have my book review of the book Aurora, Borealis Bridge by Jane Lindskold, the second book in her Overwhere series. I first heard about Miss Lindskold when I read the What Price Victory novella collection that came out earlier this year when I interviewed the authors for it. That came from Bain Books, and then I was interested in reading other books by Miss Lindskold. So I went to my local bookstore, and they actually had her most recent series, the Overwhere series. And so I bought and read the first book, Library of the Sapphire Wind, which I really enjoyed. I gave it like an 8 out of 10, like a really enjoyable book. And so after finishing this book, I heard that there was a second book and a third book. Now, from what I understand, and from what I understood then, the first two books form a duology in the series, and then the third book starts something new. I don't know whether it's a standalone or whether it's the start of a new series, but it starts something new. So these can be thought of as a duology, which is cool because the covers actually go together when you put them together. It's really cool what they did with the covers here. Very bright, very much stand out. I was very impressed with the covers here. These are by Tom Kidd, I believe. I can check that real quick. Takes a second to check. Yeah, Tom Kidd. And so I decided to read Aurora Borealis Bridge. These are still pretty short books. The first one's like 290 pages. The second one's 280 pages. So really short books. And while I enjoyed the first one quite a bit, I didn't love the second one. I feel incredibly mixed about the second one. There are some incredible highs and some incredible lows in this second book. So there are some things I can't really get into because of spoilers. So I'll try to keep it spoiler free. So the first thing I'll say about the book is I really enjoyed the first portion of the book. The first portion of the book is dedicated to the search to find Varise's daughter. And if you don't know this series, there's three older women named Meg, Peg, and Teg are all from a part of a book club, and they're whisked off to this magical world that's called Overwhere, where these three inquisitors, these young people, these teenagers, basically like 19 or 20, these young people have quests that they're each going on. One of them, and they're all therianthropic, I think is how you say it. It means that they're like, they walk like humans, but they, are animals. So one of them is like a giant cat, one of them is like a lion, and the other one is Grunwald is a deer. And they each have a different quest to do. And the first quest is followed in it is documented in the first book, Library of the Sapphire Wind, and then the second two quests are in this book. And so you start off right off the bat looking for the information for the first quest of the two, and then they complete it, and then they go on the final quest at the end. And the first quest here I really enjoyed. That was the one searching for Varise's daughter. That quest, I loved the tension, I loved the excitement, I loved the adventure elements of it. I loved what happens when they finally find Varise's daughter and what's going on in there. All that stuff was super enjoyable and entertaining. And I really enjoyed the scene where there is a negotiation with someone, where basically to try to a negotiation with someone close to Varise. And that whole negotiation sequence was really fascinating to me and really interesting, and I really liked what Jane Lindskold did here. So those are my big positives for the book. And I'll also say it does have that adventurism, fantasy, that fun nature that fantasy books should have. This feels like this could have been from the 80s or 90s based on its publication, but it's written today. What I didn't like about the book was the second half of the book, which focuses on the quest to find Zirax's master. And for one thing, I just did not like the dynamic that they portrayed between Zirax and his master. I did not like that at all. But also, I just felt that that didn't work as well for me because the magic described here didn't work as well. The world building in this section did not work as well for me, and I didn't love the all the details of it. Without getting too much into it, I'll just say that these books obviously have a link between our world and Overwhere because, the people can hop back and forth because of some reasons, because of the portals and Huetta Stone Shrine and things like that. So there is a way for characters to go back and forth, which means that there's a connection between the two worlds. So that I understood from the beginning. But this book tries to give that an explanation and tries to link them even further. And this book does it in a way that I would say that more like Philip Pullman does with his Golden Compass, how it connects to biblical history. This book tries to connect to biblical history. And I did not appreciate the way that it tried to do it. I always compare this series to Narnia. It feels like an adult Narnia thing. And to an extent that's true. I think Narnia did it better because I think Narnia was much more respectful of the biblical overtones and was much more careful in the way that it connected the two worlds. Here, I just didn't like the way they were connected, and I did not like the way they dealt with the biblical overtones. So that was a little frustrating to me. But that being said, it does give a satisfying ending to the book and gives a satisfying ending to the duology. If you're like, I don't know, it's going to be a really long series, as I said, this is like a duology. Book part 1, part 2. They honestly could have just put them together and made it one giant, not giant, but one decent sized book that's like, 550 pages. They could have done that, but they split it into 2. So it's really just 2 parts. And then of course, if you really love this, continue on with book 3. But if you just want a completed story, this tells a completed story in and of itself. And I think that if you enjoyed book 1, you'll at least enjoy the writing style of book 2, and you'll at least feel a little bit like it pays off. All 3 of the older women get time in this book, but particularly Teg gets the most character development, and I think she had some good character development. I also really like Varise's character development in this book. I thought she was excellent, and I was actually interested in the character of Kaj in this book as well. Grunwald, he didn't have much to do, sadly. Meg and Peg didn't have that much to do, and then Zirax, I didn't like what they did with him. So that's my review of Aurora Borealis Bridge. I give it like a 6 out of 10. Again, it's an entertaining book. The positives are like super high, and the negatives are, for me, like the stuff with the world building around Zirax's master, I did not like that at all. And so it kind of and the links to biblical Christianity. So like those two things make it like a 6 out of 10 overall. It was a fine book, but I had mixed. Sometimes a 6 out of 10 means 6 out of 10 here means super mixed. So if you've read Aurora Borealis Bridge, or even the first book, Library of the Sapphire Wind, let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. What do you think of these gorgeous, gorgeous covers by Tom Kidd? Let me know all those thoughts in the comments section, and until next time, I'm Jonathan, and thank you for watching.